punctual. You're right on time.
I always try to do it that way.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We have one approval of minutes of April 19, 2017. Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
Mike, is there a second? Seconded by Kitch. Any changes, errors, or omissions? There being none, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? One abstention, Kathy Richards. Motion to accept the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Is there a second to Kathy's motion? Kitch made the second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Under communications, I think Michelle did provide you with a copy of the certificate. Maybe she didn't. I don't know if she put it in, but I will let you know that we had a very nice ceremony, an Eagle Scout ceremony for Christopher Dinnis. He received his Eagle Scout and honor, Court of Honor, and he is the person that finished the volleyball court at the riverfront, and it's really very, very nice. He did a wonderful job with help from Brownstone Quorum and Public Works and many of his friends. So come down and play some volleyball. It's really a nice addition right next to the pavilion. So congratulations to Christopher. And I sent him all of the selectmen's and the town's best wishes on his huge accomplishment. Public comment. Margaret? Yes, please use the
I'm always
microphone.
complaining about people not using the microphone. Oh, it is on. Margaret Coe, 2 Redberry Lane, Portland. Okay. I wanted to make a comment on the clothing or donation boxes at the Tri-Town Plaza. I sent a letter to Susan and to you, but it was only yesterday evening that she got it. A comment was made to me over the weekend by somebody that's out of town going along 66 saying, that place is terrible, don't you do something about it? So I said, well, it's a privately owned and managed area. However, it is awful looking most of the time. So I went down Monday evening and took pictures of the junk, the mattresses, the baby stuff, the materials that had been left there through all the rain of Saturday and Sunday. And as I was there was a gentleman with the pickup truck trying to load it up. So I explained to him what I was doing. And he said, oh, thank you. In fact, the man thanked me probably 3 times for paying some attention to this, because what happens is they have to do extra runs to pick up sofas, all sorts of stuff that is left there. So Lincoln White has already been told about this and asked to do whatever is needed to fix it. My letter, I quoted my son-in-law, they live in Middlefield, and what they had to do there was a Salvation Army box near their community center, and they had to move that to their dump area simply because the same thing was happening. So I hope that it will be cleaned up. It is awful looking as you come along 66, and to be near a food store, a Tri-Town store, with the junk that's left there. So thank you, my comment. Well, the only other thing is I'd like to compliment you on putting on the website the link to the Hartford Current do not distribute. I don't know what you've had in the way of approval, but it worked for me the minute I quoted that. There was only 1 delivery, and that was it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Margaret. Okay, any other public comment tonight? Okay, then we'll move on to old business, which is appointments to boards and commissions, and I think Kathy Richards has some appointments to start with.
I do. First, we'll start with an appointment of Jim Tripp to the Board of Selectmen.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Ben. Any discussion or other nominations? There being none, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Shall we continue, or shall we swear him in?
Oh, I forgot.
We can swear him in, and then he can vote for the other nominations.
that's
How about
fine.
that?
Yeah.
Our town clerk, Ryan Curley, is here. So Jim, if you would stand, and Ryan will instruct you as to what you need to do.
Good right here.
Raise your right hand.
Picture opportunity.
You solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Connecticut, and the Town of Portland Charter, so long as you continue as a citizen thereof, and that you will faithfully discharge, according to law, the duties of a member of the Board of Selectmen to the best of your abilities, so help you God. Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you. You guys get together again. See the handshake?
We want another pic.
Another picture. Try to look a little more serious. That's perfect.
All right. Good luck, all right?
Don't want to stay around?
I gotta take this jacket off.
Have a good night, thank you. Welcome, Jim. You have your seat at the end of the table.
Did you tell Jim about the fact that when he starts, he has to pay the $25 share fee?
That is
To
fake
each
news.
selectman?
Which fee is this?
Yes.
It's a lot cheaper than what I thought was gonna happen at Farrell, so.
Well, welcome, Jim, and congratulations. As Kitch knows, there's a short orientation period of 1 second, and then you're seated.
Maybe two.
And Jim, it's really nice to have someone newer than us.
That's right. And we're going to continue. Jim has his packet.
Susan, Chris Donahue for
Yep, that would be fine.
I just wanna make sure
For the recreation?
the recreation, yeah, for Route 17
Is
recreation.
there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Kitch. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you, Michael. Motion carries. Kathy?
Do you want to do each separately?
Yeah, I think so.
Sure, okay. So I'd like to nominate Joan Geisman to the Sidewalk Committee.
Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Kitch. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
I'd like to nominate Robert Heron, move him from an alternate to a regular member of the Sidewalk Committee.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by, I heard Fred first.
It's all good.
We got plenty.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
I'd like to nominate Michael Aguilotti to the Sidewalk Committee.
Jen?
I'll second it.
Okay. I got Jen this time. Get Ben next time. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
And I'd like to nominate Richard Basso as an alternate to the Sidewalk Committee.
Second.
Ben seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you
Thank
very
you for
much.
sending those names out to us.
Very welcome. And
good.
thank you to the
Appreciate
town committees for getting them to me ahead of time. And we're doing well. There's still a few left, and I think you had something in your packets. If you need them, we'll certainly pass them out to you.
I'd like to make a quick note that the
Yes.
sidewalk committee seems to be the place that people want to be. Just want to make a note of that.
That's good. Also, there's 2 openings on the sidewalk committee. So if you do have some other folks that would like to serve,
I have one,
please
Pete.
put them forward.
Susan, I did get
Yes,
a name, I'll
Fred?
forward it to you. I think there are 2 minority positions that are left
Yes,
open on
yes.
the board. And
Yes.
the name I got, I don't know the gentleman, but I'll give you the name, you can figure out if you qualify. because
Okay.
I think we have all the correct.
I will then send it off to the selectmen so that they can see it before we meet next time. Thank you. Okay, the next item is the resolution under new business for the short-term lease extension with Goddess Farm, which is something we've been doing for the past several years. I will point out that while Richard Gotta is farming the land this season, he likely will not next season, meaning next spring. So while it's a year lease, it's only for this growing season, and he is very diligent about getting a hold of me and Sean Dwyer and other members of the Route 17 committee before he plants. So he is planting this year. We will be doing some soil borings, we anticipate, to test the soils, but other than that, there will not be construction per se this season. So we're going to have Richard Gotta continue. So the lease agreement, I think, has one error in terms of the date. Jim pointed out to me that the date should be the 2017 season. I think I forgot to, oh, no, maybe Michelle changed it before. Thank you. Did she change it?
No, it's
No, which-
paragraph 3.
Paragraph
on the second
3.
page.
Second.
Saying that
Okay.
the payment shall be made no later than July 1, 2016, it should be 2017.
Thank you. But on the second page, I think, or the first page of the lease, it is for July 1/17 through June 30/18. Thank you. With that one
Susan,
correction, yes.
couldn't we, if we're not going into next year's growing season, should we end this sooner? Like, why would we
You
want?
can, you
I'm
can.
just wondering if he's not using it.
Yep.
And it's not gonna change the dollar amount, and he's happy. I would personally feel better knowing we don't have an outstanding lease
Okay,
on a property that we're about to start a park on.
sure. What date do you think, Ben?
I'll leave that up to you.
You want to say December?
Whatever, and I would say,
Yeah.
just, you know, double check with Dickie, make sure there's no issue.
Well, you gotta pass it tonight.
Okay.
I think it'll be fine.
Okay.
He's usually finished there,
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
not gonna affect him, correct? Okay, then I would say.
December 31,
Yeah, I like that. I
2017.
personally like that better, just in.
Or you could even go into first day.
January?
Yeah.
Want to do January
So
2018? Okay. That should take care of it. January 2018, instead of June 30, it'll be January 31. That just gives them a little extra time in case there's something.
And for the record, I do buy things at Gatta's. It's not gonna affect my.
I do
vote
too.
anyway.
We all.
I do too, yeah.
Absolutely. And I will also say that Goddess is very generous to donations that they give to many groups and needed donations, so they are wonderful to our whole community.
I agree.
Is there a motion to approve with the noted changes?
So moved, second.
Made by Kitch, seconded by Kathy. Any further discussion on the lease? I want to thank Goddess Farm for farming the land. They've been very good about actually irrigating and making sure that it aerates, I should say, the land, and we're very grateful to them. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you. The next, I don't know whether Tom had any comments to make on the contract agreement with Frank Passo and Sons. We were unable to talk about this last time. This was the low bid, correct, Tom? For necessary repairs to the reservoir dam as identified by Nathan Jacobson Associates, the town engineer. And we're asking that the Board of Selectmen authorize the first Selectwoman, Susan Bransfield, to execute and deliver in the name and of and on behalf of the town of Portland a contract with the firm of Frank Passo and Sons Incorporated of 1003 Middletown Avenue, Northford, Connecticut, for the purpose of performing repairs to a concrete spillway, whether necessary infrastructure repairs and improvements to the reservoir dam, repairs to the concrete spillway. Total contract amount prior to any required change orders is approximately $75,300. And I know that we've talked about this before, and in fact, we have the dollars associated with this project already in place that you have so deemed. So is there a motion to approve the resolution?
So moved.
Was that you, Ben? Seconded by Kathy. I'll open it up for any discussion, questions? Kitch?
I was just wondering, have we done business with Frank Passo and Sons in the past?
Not that I'm aware of. Tom,
Okay.
have we done any work with them?
Not in the recent times that I'm aware of.
Okay, and do other municipalities use them
I
for
don't
this
know.
kind of work? Okay.
It was a very specific bid done. We engaged Jacobson, Nathan Jacobson Associates as a professional who puts the bid out. This was bid 2 times. As the first time there was issues with the addendum. The second time it went very smooth. The Paso was a little bitter. There was an analysis done of their ability to pay. There was credit analysis. There was, they're a massive company that they do many concrete work projects. So it appears that they should be able to do the work based on, you know, I follow up with Howard, who is our Howard Fromer, who's the engineer. He did the review, and based on his professional opinion, he thought they should be able to do the job.
Thanks, John.
Any other questions?
And just
Fred?
Yeah, Tom, on the report, did we identify, or was there any other projects that were identified that we have to be thinking about as far as the reservoir is concerned?
You know, Rick Kelsey is the director of the water department. He would know all that type of information, but what I do know is that Jacobson did perform the review. They did review any of the commentary that was back and forth between the state Allegedly, these are the things that need to get corrected based on the previous review and inspection by Jacobson. Therefore, what'll happen is, this contractor will go out with a representative from Jacobson who will review the work and hopefully accomplish the things that are needed. I believe that there's another review done, and I don't know the actual time span. I think it's every 4 to 5 years a review is done, and then further repairs obviously will be needed at the same time. These are the repairs that are identified at this time.
I think years ago, the state used to do these inspections. Now the municipalities have to pay to have their own inspections done. So this is something that we are doing and continue to do. And I know that these are the priorities that have to be done. I'm sure there's always things they can perform, but these are the priorities that need to be done in terms of maintaining the integrity of the dam, which essentially makes the reservoir. Any other questions? You ready for the question? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. The next item is a discussion on the fixed assessment application for David and Rana Kosminski for 226 Main Street, which is a retail music store and school renovation. And I had sent this ahead to the Selectmen, and I don't know if there was any questions on this. David is here tonight to answer any questions that you may have. It is, I believe, a modest amount that would be available to them. And Gail Petito provided us with her review as our assessor. She has reviewed the fixed assessment application with supporting documentation from applicants David and Rana Kosminski for property located at 226 Main Street, which was received March 8, 2017 by the First Selectman's office. The building is located in the Town Center Village District and houses Connecticut Valley School of Music and Dance and a 2-bedroom apartment. Building zoning and Town Center Village District approvals began in November 2013. The total permitted cost of improvements was $69,200. The final building permit was issued a certificate of use by Lincoln White on March 21, 2017. The assessment at 226 Main Street was $84,910 when the project began and is now $102,830. Under the town's policy on fixing real property assessments dated June 30, 2016, the improvements at 226 Main Street meet criteria letter C. If the cost of improvements is not less than $25,000 and up to $499,999, then the assessment or increase in the assessment may be fixed at 50% of the increased assessment for a period not greater than 3 years. My recommendation, this is Gail Petito speaking, is to fix the assessed improvement value at 50% for a period of 3 years. Total assessed value of the property would be fixed at $95,760 for the October 1, 2017, 2018, and 2019 grand lists. She does attach the commercial property record card, and she also attached some other information such as the site plan that is there in front of you. So I'll open it up for questions or discussion.
Can I make a motion to accept?
Yeah, in fact, you have a resolution in front of you. I added it to your packets for your convenience. Perhaps you'd like to take a look at that first, Fred. There's a motion made. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Kathy. So, Fred, you want to review the?
The yellow sheet,
No, I think it's.
the green
It
sheet?
should be
No,
white.
it's white.
Do you have it in your packet?
May not
It's
have
in
that.
with everything else.
Okay.
I only have a couple of extra copies here.
Yeah. All right, do we need to read the whole thing, Susan, or yes, I will, but,
Yeah, if you would, would be helpful.
all right. Resolution authorizing the fixing of real property assessments, whereas the town has an existing policy to encourage the growth and expansion of commercial and industrial parcels by allowing for the fixing of real property assessments where a proposed development meets the requirements of CGS, that's Connecticut General Statute, Section 12-65B, and whereas David and Rona Kuzminski, doing business as the Connecticut Valley School of Music and Dance, is proposing to expand and renovate 226 Main Street, map 28, lot 27, the property and existing business, and whereas it's in the town's best interest and is consistent with its economic development policies and its policy on fixing real property assessments, in particular to encourage this proposed development, whereas David and Rana Kuzminski, the owners of the property, have submitted an application to the town dated February 8, 2017, to fix its real property assessment for the proposed development of the property in accordance with the Connecticut General Statute, Section 12-65B, and the town's policy, the application, and whereas town staff has reviewed the application, confirmed that it appears to meet the eligibility requirements for a fixed tax assessment as set forth in the general statutes and the town's policy. Now therefore be it resolved, after due consideration and review, the Town of Portland hereby approves the application, authorizes the first selectman to execute a tax assessment fixing agreement for the purpose of fixing the real property tax assessment on the property in accordance with the terms and conditions set forth in Connecticut General Statute 12-65B and the town's policy.
Thank you. Motion's been made and seconded. Discussion. You ready for a question? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you, David.
Thank you.
Moving right along. 2, setting the mill rate for fiscal year 2017-2018. You do have in front of you, as based on the passage of the budget last Monday, technically within the charter, we are supposed to set the mill rate based on the adoption of the budget within a week. So we're within, I think this is going to be actually day 9. But this is the closest that we could get for a regularly scheduled meeting for everyone to attend. So whereas the 2017-18 budget for the town of Portland estimates that $5,081,464 will be received from the state of Connecticut. And without this, the mill rate would be 39.30 mils, not factoring the state's mill rate cap on motor vehicles of 37 mils. Now therefore be it resolved that the mill rate for fiscal year 2017-2018 be and is hereby set at 32.98 mils. And this is in accordance with the budget as we passed it. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Fred. I want to point out, as everyone on this board is aware, and I try to send to them information, we don't know, no one knows what the state revenues will be for this coming fiscal year. The governor's budget has one set of revenues, the House Republicans have another set of revenues, and the House Democrats and House Senate, as I understand it, also have a budget with determining revenues. Our charter says that we're supposed to have our town meeting the first Monday in May, which we did. We are supposed to have our referendum the following Monday in May, which we did, and the budget passed. And we are supposed to set the mill rate within a week, which is what we're close to doing here tonight with the availability of the selectmen. As we proceed, if there is a vast difference between what we have recommended, given the original numbers which the governor had given us in February, thereabouts, if that does not come to be, then the town will have to give consideration to either a supplemental tax assessment or some other alternative. Now, we're not the only town in Connecticut, of course, that is doing this. Many towns have passed their budgets and have set their mill rates. I do know that Glastonbury, I believe Middletown and Cromwell have done so. East Hampton has not. They were severely affected by the estimates that the governor's original proposal had. We were not as affected. So, each town has to make their own decision. But we are following the law, our local law, as well as state law, and we're recommending that this be set with the understanding that the state of Connecticut may see some changes going forward.
You mentioned
Ben?
a supplemental bill. Could we also possibly make cuts mid-year also? Is everything on the table?
You can make cuts in your budget. The Board of Education would have to deal with their own budget, of course, Ben. But yes, that's why we meet every first Wednesday of the month and talk about our budget. And we do give you our analysis through the finance director as to how things are proceeding. Yes, Kitch?
If we end up having to have a supplemental tax, could you talk about the ways that this might occur and how we would make it easier for residents to pay the bills? And you also said perhaps other alternatives, so could you just speak a little bit about those?
It's up to this board, of course, Kitch. This board could determine that they want to use fund balance. That is something that you can do. It's not something we generally recommend, because then you have a built-in deficit going forward the next year. There is a law that allows communities to send out supplemental tax bills. I will do additional research. I don't know if it's one or if it can be divided. And that is something that I would certainly find out for us. We would certainly try to do our best, as Ben said, to make appropriate reductions and estimates. And I'm also contacting our lobbying group, which is CCM and Cost. And I also made a phone, I sent an email along with the Cromwell town manager to Christy Carpino, our state representative, and said that the governor's budget, which has been presented, is really unacceptable and very difficult. And I don't anticipate that would be the budget that will be adopted. And we're keeping in touch with her so that she can do her best to provide us with appropriate funding and information.
And the other question I have is, have you heard anything about when the state may adopt a budget?
I've heard people's guesses. If it's not June 7th, which is the closing day of the session, it could be August. I've even had some people guesstimate Halloween.
Thank you. Halloween, did you say? Halloween.
Somebody's guess. It's a guess. It's a guess.
Okay, thank you.
It's very, very, very concerning. We're on the national news as well as state, local. But we're doing our best, and we will continue to do so. And keep you apprised as I get it. Do you mind me sending you emails? You don't have to ready them all, but it's
Today's
helpful.
interesting.
Yes. I'll send you some more too, once I get them. So, are you ready for the question? All in favor of establishment of the mill rate so that we can get the tax bills out for July 1? Indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Tom, did you have any further comments? The next item is adoption of the non-union administration pay plan, which is in front of you. This is a requirement for us to, as selectmen, pass every year. And on occasion, we do make amendments to this going forward. It's not set in stone. On occasion, we've had to change this based on the changes in the, excuse me, the standard wage, the minimum wage, and also if there's a need for any additional changes. But at this point, this is what we have established. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
Seconded by Kitch. Discussion? Kathy made the motion and Kitch seconded. Thank you. All in favor?
I have a question, Susan.
Yep,
too.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't see you.
Yeah. just looking at, on the professional employees,
Yes.
we have, the range is there. Does that mean that employee X, would not necessarily be getting more money, am I correct? And for how long might that not be going on? For example, let's say it was a $50,000 figure, and it's 50 minimum, 72 maximum. So there's, I assume, some steps involved. Is that the way that works? How do you get from minimum to maximum?
Most employees this year, with some exceptions, are getting a 2.5% increase based on what their current salary is. The maximum, I don't think anyone will reach the maximum, correct, Tom? The minimums, we've kept the same, and as we get a new person in, we try, if the qualifications are such, that they get the minimum. If they deserve a little bit more, they can get that. But we don't have steps. Years ago, we used to have steps. We don't have steps anymore. And some of these positions are not filled. The librarian 3, assistant director, that is not filled. The town planner, right now, is not filled. I think all of the others that I'm looking at under the professional have been filled. On the opposite side, those are simply the rate. There is no range for the hourly part-time positions in the town tech and the park and rec youth services, and so forth.
So once the select person and the Department of Human Resources hires someone, that salary, then pretty much it's usually between a 0, 1 to 2, 2.5% increase. And that's usually what happens based on whatever the approved amount is in the budget. It goes up from there. Usually they don't keep jumping unless the selectmen usually determines there's some merit for the salary going up.
So could an employee then, could an employee then go a number of years, let's say there were 10 folks in executive or professional, they could go, you indicated that most of the people were getting an increase, but not all of them. So what?
The fire chief, I don't think got, the stipend did not go up this year, for example. I believe everyone else will go up. Within the land use department, there has been some changes there.
Mm-hmm.
So the building blight official, I'm going to ask him, and this is in your budget, I'm going to ask him to be the coordinator of that department. And I anticipate some additional activity in that department, so he will get a little more than the 2.5. I don't remember what it was in the budget, but Deanna used to be the coordinator of that department, but Lincoln is now the senior member of the land use department, and I'm asking him, and he has agreed to be the coordinator. It's not a change in position, but it is a responsibility given his longevity,
Okay,
to give you an idea of how it works.
thank you.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you. The next item that is also in the charter and something you must do every year, in your budgets, you'll remember that you have transfers. You have transfers from the general fund to the animal control fund. You have, is there a transfer to Town Aid Road, Tom? Or the grant just comes in?
There is no transfer, but there's a separate fund.
Separate fund for the Town Aid Road. Hopefully that gets funded this year. The Youth Services Fund receives a transfer from the general fund, as does Resource Recovery, Building Maintenance Fund, and the Parks and Recreation Fund. And the amounts are listed in your resolution. Further, resolve the capital improvement budget for the fiscal year as outlined on the attached in the amount of $2,095,536, with $127,000 being town source funded projects, $125,000 water source fund projects, $125,000 sewer source funds, $116,286 State of Connecticut funded projects, and $1,602,250 from capital lease proceeds. Be and is hereby adopted. And we've attached for you the Animal Control, Town Aid, Youth Services, Resource Recovery, Parks and Recreation. So you really can't adopt these budgets until the budget is passed and you know that the dollars are at least authorized to go to these separate funds. So that's why we have to do this after the budget passes. Is there a motion to approve the resolution as presented?
So moved.
By Kathy, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Jim. Discussion or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries unanimously. Okay, the next is fourth quarter transfers, Board of Education maintenance. And this is also, along with the Board of Ed School Lunch Fund, the next resolution. These are commonly presented after the budget passes toward the end of the fiscal year. Whether there are dollars available within the Board of Education budget, they ask that within the fourth quarter, that because there is a need for various repair projects, which are including flooring asbestos projects at Valley View School, building of a bathroom at Valley View School, and possible completion, if there is enough money, of the windows at the Brownstone Intermediate School. Now therefore be it resolved that this Board of Selectmen hereby approves the transfer of up to, but no more than, $75,000 to the Board of Education Maintenance Fund from the available fiscal year 2017 Board of Education appropriations. So should the Board of Education have up to, but no more than $75,000 remaining, that amount you would be authorizing to be moved to the maintenance fund to do those specific repairs that we've identified. Is there a motion?
I'd like to make the motion.
Motion by Mike, is there a second? Second by Kathy. Ben?
The 75, that's the most they can transfer, right? That's the number.
In this resolution. I don't know why they chose 75,000.
Tom, is there a rule on how much you can transfer to Fund 11 out of their budget? Is there a certain percentage?
Not really. I mean, I'd have to, there may be a total number, I'd have to look at that, but generally, we use 100,000. This year, I know that they're having, they're strapped for cash, so Philip didn't believe that he was gonna have probably 75,000, so he said didn't want 100,000 out there as a float, because he didn't think he was gonna have it. But that was what the Board of Ed passed in their transfer and their resolution, so therefore I went, in their meeting, so I brought forward to y'all. The only clarification I just need to make is those are things that we'd like to do for projects. They may not be what the money is used for. It's obviously utilized for Board of Ed building maintenance, but whatever. If something comes up of a higher priority, then that would trump the money and we would use it for that.
Susan, can we amend that to state something, basically what you just said,
Sure.
add a sentence that says, or.
Does it say, usually it says it.
Does it say, or, it doesn't, does it, Ben? No, it just says,
I didn't see that.
It should say,
may include but are not limited to.
there you go.
Okay, fine.
Is that okay?
That's the
Kitch,
language.
did you have a comment?
I think I would feel a little more comfortable if we didn't name them at all. And I know that during budget process, we did talk about these specifically, but what Tom's saying now is that if they decide something else leaps ahead of these projects, they'd like to have, am I saying this right?
Yeah, but that's why I have that in there. I mean,
Yeah.
that's, the selectmen have always requested some semblance of what we would attempt to spend the money on. So, in the past, that's where that has
Okay.
come from. So that's why I just added a caveat in there of may or may not include. They do their best. I mean, I'm pretty sure that the Valley View asbestos is gonna get done. Windows probably is not gonna get done because they're not gonna have enough money. The special ed is very high this year.
Could they keep us apprised of what projects they decide to do?
I mean, I don't think you really want that.
We can ask them.
You can ask
I
it,
mean,
but I mean,
will
I
ask.
think there was consensus on this board that we really were looking at making sure the asbestos project got completed.
correct, but I mean, that's in theory, that would have been when, when you're doing capital, where this
Right.
board controls capital. I mean, the building maintenance fund, really, the Board of Ed controls what they're spending once it gets in the fund. I mean, when you do capital, that's when the board here sets it and says, here, we're gonna put it in this
Uh-huh.
project, and then you gotta follow that project.
Okay.
That we do, but in this instance, we only put, I think, $50,000 in for technology. So, I mean, they can give you an update, sure, but I mean, it's just, a lot of good projects get done, I know that. I mean, I've watched it when we do it. We've done bathroom projects through there. We've been in the biz bathrooms have got accomplished. There's been a lot of painting that's got accomplished, upgrades. There's been railing improvements to the brownstone that get accomplished. So, I mean, numerous things get done in that, and it's utilized in a very, very good manner by the Board of Ed, in lieu of the capital, because the Board of Selectmen generally don't give the Board of Education capital money. So,
Can we just watch where it goes? Thank you.
I will
Okay.
ask Philip to give us.
All right, that would be great.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Just a note, I'm abstaining because this issue came before me when I was on the Board of Ed.
One abstention, Jim Tripp. Thank you, Jim. The next is fourth quarter transfers for the Board of Education School Lunch Fund. Whereas the Board of Education has identified funds within its general fund budget to transfer to the school lunch fund. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Selectmen hereby approves the transfer of up to, but no more than, $60,000 to the school lunch fund, Fund 5. Again, from available fiscal year 2017 Board of Education appropriations. So this is the Board of Education moving their own money to cover expenditures associated with the school lunch fund. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Ben?
Second.
Seconded by Kitch. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions?
Again, I'm abstaining for the same reason.
Jim Tripp, abstention. Thank you. Motion passes. The next item is refund of excess payments. Kathy?
I'd like to make a motion to refund $2,126.64 to Roberta Emmons.
Second.
Seconded by Ben. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
I'd like to make a motion to refund $6.39 to Brian T. Shallow.
Second.
Seconded by Ben. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
I'd like to make a motion to refund $97.54 and $97.02 to Daniel C. and Christine D. Kopfer.
Second.
Seconded by Ben also. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
I'd like to make a motion to refund $1,335.95 to Dennis W. Norton.
Second.
Seconded by Ben. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
I'd like to make a motion to refund $46.48 to Frank T. Pillarella, Jr.
Second.
Seconded by Ben. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
I'd like to make a motion to refund $2,601.13 to Gregory H. Gaudet.
Second.
Seconded by Ben. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
I'd like to make a motion to refund $19.23 to David P. Rowland.
Second.
Seconded by Ben. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
I'd like to make a motion to refund $304.88 and $243.05 to Vault Trust.
Second.
Seconded by Ben. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
I'd like to make a motion to refund $994.48 to Ryder Truck Rental LT.
Second.
Seconded by Ben. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Status and committee reports. Fred, did you have anything to say about the sidewalk committee coming up?
On the bonding resolution, I think Last time we had, I think, at one of the prior selectmen meetings, we had a very, I think, good discussion about sidewalks generally. As far as the bonding, we were short members, and we were able to secure people who are interested in serving on the bonding commission for sidewalks. And they're tentatively, now that they've been appointed, we have a quorum, and we have a tentative meeting, I believe, on Monday, 6:30. And at that point, the officers, that's a 7-person board.
Is that this Monday at 6:30?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a 7-person board, and we needed a quorum before. We'll have that. We'll have 5 now permanent members, and then there are 2 alternates who will be there. And then the officers will be appointed at that meeting. I think, Susan, you're going to be there for the call of that meeting. And
Yes.
so the officers will be sworn in, and there'll be a discussion about regarding organization, and there've been some good comments, I think, from the selectmen regarding the direction we want to go in terms of replacement, repair, and Selectman Ben Serb had a good suggestion on looking at streets to see if
Here's the agenda I have.
we might be able to eliminate some sidewalks where it would be appropriate. So, and the other, as Susan had the agenda here, and the other, as you can see, the subcommittees hopefully will be appointed. That will be up to the members, the 7-person board, and they will decide whether they want to establish subcommittees. I would suspect they might well want to, because there are a lot of topics to be discussed, I think. So I think we're in a good place with that, and hopefully we'll be able to move forward rather quickly, and the actions of that board will be reported back to the Board of Selectmen, who, as you have pointed out, have ultimate authority on such matters as sidewalks. I don't know. Michael, you have anything?
You've summed it up nicely.
I would like to add that while it's not part of the bonding project, there will be some, it's really a residual project of improvements to town-owned sidewalks. We're going to go out to bid, if we haven't already, for the sidewalks in front of Brownstone Intermediate School, going to in front of the tennis courts, which we own. And the one area, there's a large tree that the sidewalk will actually go in a circle around it, so it won't hopefully heave like it does so often with trees. So that is out to bid. Those were some dollars that had already been allocated for that mini park project, as well as some LoCIP money and general fund money. That will also, we're also looking at doing the sidewalk that runs along the parking lot in this building, the library. There is some spalling and some drainage problems. So Carl wanted us to replace those because there's some slips and fall potentials. So those will be replaced. Where you park near the senior center, the island comes out too far. You've ever noticed when you're driving around? Yes. So that will be cut, and there'll be, I believe, a concrete island there set back. And there'll be more parking along the park, along where the playscape is.
Right.
So you'll be able to park perpendicular to the park. It'll be safer and I think a better flow for the traffic. If there's money still available, because we are limited, we would replace the sidewalks along Town Hall on Fairview Street. Those have also spalled and broken. So those will be replaced. Most likely, that'll be what's called an integrated curb, similar to Middlesex Avenue. So you won't see that strip of grass and then the sidewalk and then the grass. You're going to see a bigger sidewalk that'll go out to the road and have a curb as part of the sidewalk. And the reason for that is it's a little bit wider of a sidewalk, and the clearing and the maintenance is better, as I think you may recognize as they go along with the, is it the Kubota that goes along then? They'd be able to clean it quicker and maybe more efficiently, and so those are the sidewalks that will be done. I wanted to let you know that, our complete streets policy, I'm supposed to let you know that. We'll be letting the committee know that, but we don't want to hesitate. We want to fix those sidewalks. And then the $1 million that is set aside from the bond project is what the committee will be meeting on and starting their work on Monday, the 22nd. You're more than welcome to come. It'll be at Town Hall in the first floor conference room, and we're looking forward to that. While we're talking about committees, it's been pointed out to me by Economic Development Commission as well as the Planning and Zoning Commission that we need to establish a Plan of Conservation and Development Implementation Committee, which is something we haven't established yet. So in the near future, I'll bring that to you. We'll have to find people that are interested in serving on that. You are already implementing a lot of that plan, but we need to have an oversight group that give us some guidance in that regard. I think that's all I had at this point on that. So we'll go into public comment. Yes, David?
Dave Murphy, 40 Carousel Drive, Board of Education member, but speaking as a resident. Tim, did I hear you say you're not going to do the windows this summer
Tom.
at the Brownstone? Tom?
Superintendent has told me that. So that's not-
Okay, because that's one of the things that really bothers me, quite honestly, as a resident and as a parent, because, my daughter came home one day and said how, I don't know if you realize, there's no screens on the windows in those undone section. And the wasps, the bees, the bugs, and the occasional bird comes into the classrooms, because they have to have them open because there's no air conditioning. And there's actually one of the teachers has a medical issue where she needs to have the ventilation and things like that. So I contacted Dr. O'Reilly and said, he said, hey, it's part of the budget. We're hoping to get it done this summer. I said, okay, I can wait. Now we're not. So I think that's a wrong. We're spending money on things we don't need, and here's something we do need. To me, that's not what we should be doing.
Thank you, David. Good feedback.
Do we know how much those windows are? Do we know how much
Do you have an
those windows
estimate
are?
of that, David? Do you have an estimate of that repair?
He just budgeted $100,000.
100,000.
I don't know if it's actually gone down. I don't actually talk to, the gentleman in charge of the building there. He said.
Paul Bankston?
Yeah, probably 60, but he did, again, without getting a quote, he was just.
Okay.
They have to make that decision, though, don't they,
Yeah.
the Board of Ed, right?
Pardon?
The
Out
Board
of
of
the
Ed makes
maintenance
that
fund.
final decision.
Well, out of the
Right.
budget money, it's in the budget, so.
Yeah.
Tom?
I believe what they're trying to, when he says it's in the budget, I believe the Board of Ed requested within their budget in the capital plan for X amount of money to be put into capital. The Board of Selectmen, and through the process, that they did not fund that. So there is no money within the capital plan for windows to continue, other than the monies that were remaining from the last time. There was a hope, if enough money was left over in the general fund, to be transferred, like, i.e. the 100,000-ish, into the Board of Ed Building Maintenance Fund, that they would attempt to try to do it themselves for the Building Maintenance Fund, which is really, replacement of the windows is really a capital improvement. Should be in the capital improvement fund and funded capitally. But they were going to try to do that, i.e. because it's an older project. So the monies that are in the building maintenance fund are not specifically for capital projects, although the Board of Ed tends to utilize it for that because they don't get it in capital. So they just want to clarify, it was in your capital budget, but that was not funded. Therefore, the monies that are going into, as well as the asbestos projects, were in your capital project, and they were funded. So that's why whatever monies that go into the building maintenance fund are gonna be utilized as accordingly. I believe, and again, I'm not the superintendent, so I don't know where, but I believe that there is like a plan that Paul Bankson, the director of buildings, puts together, and he had put together that there was gonna make an improvement to the asbestos issue. So I believe that was why they chose, to try to put together the project for the summertime. It would be the asbestos in Valley View, because they're, I guess it's pretty bad, and they want to be able to get that out of there before, there's an effect to children's health and the state. So that's what I know about that component.
Board of Selectmen informal discussion? Welcome again. Jim?
Very nice to be here. I look forward to working with everyone.
And I don't have anything on the follow-up items tonight, but I do have some information to share. Not very much. We should be able to be out of here within 15 or 20 minutes. Executive session, so I'd entertain a motion to go into executive session.
I'll
The
make that.
purpose is land acquisition, and I don't believe there'll be any guests invited in tonight.
Second.
Motion was made by Michael, seconded by Kitch, and all in favor, aye.
Aye.
And it's about 8:30.
This was made vigorously.